And we're back. John.
And Mariah.
All right.
Educators answering your questions. So another question that we get a lot is, when is the right age to date? When should you start dating? Was this awkward?
When you're ready to, I think is a good first place to start here. When you feel able to engage in a relationship at the level that you want to be engaged in that relationship, I think is a good starting point for when you are personally ready. Young people, often this is something that parents have an opinion on, and we have to manage that as well. So what are your thoughts on that, Mariah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I usually say, for those of you that know me and have had class with me before, I usually say there's not a right age. There's not a right age, because we all develop crushes on people or those romantic feelings at different points in time. Like maybe some of you out there had a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a partner when you were in kindergarten, right? But that was different than maybe you're feeling now as a grader. And those relationships, increase in intimacy, increase in the way we feel with each other and the way we connect. So some people won't have crushes or interest in anybody till they're in college, till after college. And some people will be interested in people and want to date and want to hold hands starting really young. And that's all totally okay. And then John brought up the fact that parents or guardians have different feelings about that. And I think that's where it gets interesting, right? Because I think that's the next question, is like, how do you tell your parents that you're dating? So let's say you're in middle school and you have a crush on someone and you want to ask them out. You want to ask them to be with you or whatever it is. But your parents aren't really down for that. What do you do? How would we talk about that?
Oof. Going back to middle school me, my mom was pretty strict. But I was the second born, so I wasn't not that strict on me. So I don't know, I would probably ask my older sister how to tell mom, which could be some useful advice. I think maybe an older sibling has experienced these conversations before and can tell you some advice about how to handle it.
I love that we bring that up, because you're second sibling and I'm first. I'm oldest. So yeah, and I think asking an older sibling, great. That's like a great map. And also maybe if you saw it go down badly for your older sibling, you can know how to steer around that. If you're the oldest sibling or the first sibling to start dating, or you're an only child, I think some advice that I always give is, if you have that type of relationship with your parents, ask them when they started dating. Just to kind of feel it out and feel, if your mom or your guardian's going to be like, why are you asking that? Are you dating? Then maybe that's a hot topic, and kind of ease off for a minute. If they answer you freely, maybe you'll kind of get a sense to know if they're going to be okay with it or not. What do you think about that, John?
Yeah, I think kind of in that difficult conversation vein, it's like you ask. I think if you're talking about this stuff a little bit already, it becomes easier to have those conversations. Which is why, when I talk to parents, I say, talk about relationships with your kids, when you're watching TV. Don't make it this taboo, scary thing. So yeah, I think if you come to parents for advice, that gives them a little bit. Parents are always so scared about the kid, doing stuff they don't know about and they're worried about. So it's if you give them a little bit of authority in a way, what do you think about this? I feel like in general, people, when you give them that bit of power, you share power with them in that way, generally they give it back to you, well, what do you think about this? Then it makes them almost like a supporter, a fan of you in a relationship. And then they're more likely to be someone you can talk to about it, because in the end, that's super important for young people as you're figuring relations out, to have older people to run stuff by that you really trust, that you can ask them.
Totally. I think that also brings up the fact that dating or being in a relationship with someone is different than being sexually active or having sex with someone. Not everyone who dates, right, or chooses to have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or a partner also chooses to kiss or to hold hands or to do more than that. So maybe parents get a little freaked out sometimes because they think if you have a partner, that means that you're thinking about having sex, and you might not be, and that's okay. And it's okay also if you are. So maybe figuring out how to have conversations about the fact of like what is dating when you're in 6th or 7th or 8th or 9th or 10th or whatever grade. Like what does dating mean? Like I have a boyfriend, but we just go to the movies and we hang out and we call each other every night. And that's totally an acceptable and awesome, healthy relationship to have.
Right. I think adults, when they hear like dating, like they think what a dating means for adults, and dating for sixth and seventh and eighth graders can look very different, or similar. So I think, yeah, it's a matter of, no boundaries, knowing what you do and don't want. And even if you're dating someone, even being honest about not knowing, it's like, I'm not sure I want, just like, don't pressure me into that because I'm not sure about that. I'm going to make that decision when I'm ready to. Communication is like the master key to like every question, I feel like.
It is. And sometimes when I can't communicate, or I'm having a hard time, I personally write it out and I edit what I say and then I practice it. So no matter whether that's with my partner, right? I do that all the time with my partner, or whether it's with my parents. And I'm almost 30 years old and I still do that. So communication is hard for everybody. And if you need some practice and need to write it out and like type it out and like delete and come back, that's a really great way to practice having those direct conversations.
Yeah, like that's great advice, because difficult conversations, like you become emotional, you might just become nervous for having the conversation, and then you come out and you're like, wait, there were 3 things I really had to say that like I didn't say. So like organizing yourself a little bit beforehand, like these are the things like we got to talk about. These are the things like I need to come out of this conversation like having an answer to. Like, really good skill. A little bit of planning ahead of a tough conversation that you have to get somewhere in that conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's good.
All right.
I'm gonna give John a virtual high five because I think we had a great conversation. Oh, oh, oh.
Wait, you're on that side.
Oh, I got no.
Uh,
Oh, did I?
yeah, there it is. Coming this way. What? Yeah. All right. There it is. Until the next time, kids.
See you later.